ESPN welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
87 degrees outside here in Glendale. High 70s by the end of the game. No rain in sight, yet the roof is closed. In any case, we'll go on with the home team, and Bruce Arians, his Cardinals have the lead. They can stay alone in the loss column in the lead with a win here tonight. Of course, the Rams are 3-3, 2-0 in the division. Everybody keeping an eye on the Seahawks. John Harbaugh, it's been a frustrating year. They're used to the playoffs. They're used to being near the top of the division, not 1-5 at the bottom, and battling to try to find a way to tie the Browns and stay within hailing distance. It's been a very difficult start for Steve Smith Sr. and the Ravens in terms of road games. This is their 7th game, first 5 on the road. And in Larry Fitzgerald's house, Arizona will get it first. The Cardinals have won the toss, and Carson Palmer and company elected to receive. Why not with a high-power offense? Put him out there first. Justin Tucker, very good kicker. Only 3 kickoff returns by Ravens opponents all year. David Johnson back deep to receive. Took one back 108 against Chicago earlier this year. Won't get his hands on that one, and Palmer and the Cardinals will start at the 20-yard line. There's Carson Palmer, #1 overall pick a dozen years ago. Chance to move into the top 20 in all-time passing yards. He makes career start 150, and John, it's been much different and successful here with Arizona compared to Oakland, the last stop, or the original stop in Cincinnati.
Yeah, Mike, and his knee is healthy, and that right arm is alive and well rested. The system fits him perfectly. It's very aggressive, and he's got a real good supporting cast.
A.Q. Shipley, backup offensive lineman, lines up as a fullback. They don't have a traditional fullback. And paving the way for Chris Johnson. Once a 2,000-yard rusher, he gains about 6 to the 26-yard line. Blocking for Palmer, Jared Valdir, and Mike Upati strong on that left side. They want tough yards. They go that way. No Darren Fells is tight end, out with a shoulder injury. So Jermaine Gresham, the main tight end. You'll like David Johnson. Does a lot of good things as a running back and a receiver. And John talked about Fitzgerald, John Brown, and Michael Floyd, and how potent his offense has been, especially Fitz. Johnson runs to the right, first down. Easy gain of 10, thrown down by Elvis Dumerville.
How about this? Chris Johnson on a power play. Mike Upati, the ex-San Francisco 49er, pulls to his right against this Raven defense. That's uncommon. The one thing Baltimore has done better than anyone over the last 15 years is stop the run, but Arizona is taking it right to him in these first 2 plays.
There are major holes in that Ravens secondary, especially at the safety position. First Palmer pass is complete to John Brown. 1 tackle missed. First down, Brown. Gain of 11 for John Brown in his 2nd year out of Pittsburgh State.
Well, it's great timing, and they're comparing this young man to a young Marvin Harrison, and that's saying something. Timing pattern, yards after the catch, vertical speed. John Brown, perhaps the best kept secret of that great receiving class that came into this league last year, Mike.
Yeah, so many good rookies last year. You saw what Brown did to the Steelers. Trying to do what A.J. Green did to the Ravens earlier this year. Deep drop, Palmer. Brown again. First down again. Right in front of Jimmy Smith. It is very easy for Arizona here early.
Jimmy Smith is struggling. He had that Liz Frank foot injury last year. I don't know if he's 100% healthy, but he's playing off coverage, and John Brown eats the cushion up and wins in transition. And Carson Palmer, with excellent protection, knows that John Brown can beat Jimmy Smith in one-on-one coverage.
38-yard line. Here comes Chris Johnson trying to cut it back. Good tackle, much needed stop by Darryl Smith, longtime veteran and a good tackler for this Ravens team. Brandon Williams is playing the best of the 3 up front in the 3-4. C.J. Mosley came in, had a terrific rookie season. Elvis Dumerville, 3rd in the league in sacks last year, only 2.5 in the first 6 games. Now talking about the secondary, Smith struggling, Ladarius Webb coming back. Will Hill and Brendan Trawick gets the start tonight. Trawick in for Kendrick Lewis, who injured his knee last week against San Francisco. He's essentially their fifth safety if you think of the players they've lost throughout this season. Chris Johnson on the carry to the 23-yard line. We mentioned earlier Chris Johnson, that great 2006-yard season. Back in 2009 with Tennessee, one of 7 times in league history a running back had a 2,000-yard season. Over 1,000 every other year in his career except for last year with the Jets, kind of a lost season. Free agent who ended up signing here after being involved in what was termed a drive-by shooting in Orlando in March. A bullet lodged in his trap. He's lucky to be alive. Past the physical, he's here, and he's run effectively so far. 3rd and 6. Palmer, pass rush, trying to get to him, and a big play by C.J. Mosley. His 3rd sack of the season will make this a long field goal attempt of 54.
Well, rookie David Johnson has to pass protect much better than this. C.J. Mosley beats Johnson easily, forces Palmer to push up, and good second effort by Mosley, the second-year man out of Alabama, to force a long field goal.
It'll be 55, not 54, for the second-year kicker out of Clemson, Chandler Catanzaro. He has never made one this long in his NFL career. Play clock winding down as you see. And it's wide right, no good. So after strolling down the field on the first 5 plays, the linebackers, the inside linebackers for Baltimore, come up with 2 big plays, a run stop, a sack, and Catanzaro's wide right from 55. PN's Monday Night Football, brought to you by Miller Lite, back in its original bottle, but not for long. It's Miller time. And NFL Mobile, watch live local and primetime games on your smartphone. Go to NFL.com/mobile. Of Sedona, some beautiful sights here in the desert. Our coverage tonight from Spider Cam is brought to you by DirecTV. First drive for the Ravens. They haven't scored a point on their opening drive of the game all season. Flacco to Juszczyk, the tight end, and a gain of nearly 10. That was the first play of the first half and the second half last week. A pass to Juszczyk from Joe Flacco, unflappable Joe Flacco. And that's been hard to say with what's been going on. The guy's won the Super Bowl MVP, gambled and cashed in with that big contract. Johnny starts with a 119th consecutive game, 5th longest in NFL history.
Got to start fast. If they could get something here, it would be a huge confidence builder for this offense.
Jeremy Ross in motion. Justin Forsett up the middle. Big run, Forsett. Back-to-back 11-yard gains. First downs for Baltimore.
When Jeremy Ross comes into the game, watch the jet sweep. This time, he comes across the formation. The Arizona Cardinals took the cheese and they handed the ball to Forsett instead of handing the ball off to Ross. Good deception in his first couple plays. You're seeing shifts, good personnel usage. First down, Ravens.
The Arizona 33, Forsett to the left. That time he stopped, gained about a yard or 2. Dayon Buchanan, along with Rodney Gunter on the stop. Trying to block up front. 2 very good guards in Osemele and Marshall Yondu just got a new contract. Handling the ball, either handed off or thrown by Flacco. He's without one of his young tight ends, and Max Williams. They're very young over there. Steve Smith, Sr., keeps going, says it's his last year. Kamar Aiken, Marlon Brown, those other receivers. Somebody else in the receiving corps has to step up for Baltimore. They haven't had good years. 2nd and 8, Flacco. It is caught by one of those receivers, Kamar Aiken. In his 3rd year out of Central Florida, we have a flag down. And for the first time tonight, we'll hear from 2nd-year NFL referee Ronald Torbert.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense, number 93. Half the distance to the goal from the end of the play. Automatic first down.
It's on Calais Campbell and will take Baltimore into the red zone. Ball be placed at the 13-yard line.
Calais Campbell, who plays everywhere in this Arizona front, guilty of a big penalty. And this is important for Baltimore, Mike. They have not played with a lead much all year, and it's made this offense one-dimensional. Flacco threw it 53 times last week. This is an impressive start. Let's see if they can capitalize.
Forsett is the back. 3 first downs on this drive. As many as they've had on opening drives all season. And they send it to the eligible John Urschel, the lineman Urschel, inside the 8 to the 7-yard line. So, John, when you're struggling on the opening drives, do anything you can, including throw it to Urschel.
I love it. Get into an unbalanced line, bring Steve Smith across the field in motion, and throw a throwback screen to an offensive lineman. You're seeing it all.
We have a late flag down that was thrown, and then a hat thrown down to the play. Boy, John Harbaugh and the Ravens are very conscious of reporting and properly reporting after the issue in the AFC divisional playoff in Foxborough last year. And if this is one of those ineligible questions, boy, would they be frustrated by that.
Illegal formation by the offense. Number 64 was on the end of the line, did not record. It's a 5-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
He looked right at him. You can read Harbaugh's lips. He wants to talk to the official. I will say this. If there's any team that's going to be very careful about properly reporting on an odd formation, it's going to be Harbaugh because of what happened and caused a complete stink last year when New England was completely correct in what they did, but they used the max in the rule book to set up the formation. Wow. 1st and 15 after the flag. Flacco fires, complete, flag down. Steve Smith, senior, thrown down by Patrick Peterson, and they're going to see a lot of each other tonight. The flag was thrown by one of those wing officials who's watching the DB and the receiver.
They got Patrick Peterson here for pass interference.
There are fouls by both teams on the play. Holding, offense, number 72. Holding, defense, number 26. Those fouls offset. We'll replay, first down.
This is the matchup of the night. Forget the penalty for a second, Mike. Patrick Peterson is going to find Steve Smith throughout the night and play man-to-man coverage. And this is a battle that you pay full-price tickets to see. Watch Peterson looking for Steve Smith. And believe me, Steve Smith is looking for Peterson, too.
The battle both guys very much aware of coming in. And Peterson telling us this week he's not going to let Steve Smith Sr. get under his skin and take the bait of the verbal challenge. So we're back to 1st and 15, and Calais Campbell tracks down Forsett, and it's getting heated here now as Osemele and Buchanan say hello.
Take a look at Calais Campbell playing the defensive tackle position. Rare closing ability, and you don't find defensive linemen that are 6'8", 305 pounds with his stamina often. First Pro Bowl last year, well-deserved. He'll be heading back to Honolulu this year if he stays healthy.
See how good that Cardinals defense has been. Negative rushing plays. Loss of 1, 2nd and 16. Check down Forsett. Could not get away from Kevin Minter with the tackle. And it will be 3rd down coming against this Arizona Cardinals defense that up front features Campbell playing all over that defensive line. Gunter, promising rookie, who they took in the 4th round. Lamar Woodley tries to bring it off the edge along with Marcus Golden. Dale Buchanan wears 20, plays a linebacker spot, but he's so versatile and mixes in with these other 20s. We've already talked about Peterson, Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badgers in the house, and so is Dwight Freeney, who they signed a couple of weeks ago for these situations.
And he's in that patented left-handed stance. Let's see what kind of juice he has left.
3rd and 12, the pressure comes. Flacco sacked. Frosty Rucker gets the 2nd of the season for the 10-year veteran from Southern Cal.
They've got more depth in this defensive line than they've had in a long time. And Frosty Rucker, the ex-Cincinnati Bengal, has been an outstanding inside presence this year. One-gap penetrator in a running game. He's got pass rush ability, and it sets up a long field goal once again.
Great kicker Justin Tucker's already missed 3 this year. His power fades very often. Ball will travel usually from left to right as he kicks it. He bangs that through from 44 for the game's first points. I'm sure John Harbaugh is going to be looking to have a word or two with the referee. 3-0 Baltimore on top, first quarter. Well, as we did go to break, John Harbaugh asked his player Urschel, the offensive lineman who caught the pass, did you report? He said yes. And then he got Ron Torbert to come over. He said he gave you that clear signal that he was reporting. Looked right at the referee, and here it is. Watch Urschel come in and look right at the referee, Ron Torbert, and that's the universal football symbol of 64 is eligible. Now, if there was a formation issue, it would be another thing, but he reported as ineligible and was on the end of the line, and there was no other receiver covering him up on that side. So,
well, Urschel is a Rhodes Scholar. He's not going to forget the report, Mike. He just did report. I understand Harbaugh for being upset on that. That's ridiculous.
Ravens do score on their first possession for the first time all year. And Tucker not going through the uprights before and does virtually the same thing with that one. Drive 2 for Arizona and Larry Fitzgerald in a moment. A lot of you saw the Panthers last night beat the Eagles. Carolina undefeated, and Andrew Luck and the Colts bring all their troubles to try to get well against a pretty darn good-looking team in Cam Newton and the Panthers. Monday night, 8:15 Eastern from Charlotte. The Panthers joining the Packers, the Broncos, the Bengals, and the Patriots. 5 teams starting this season 6-0, an NFL first. We look forward to Charlotte next Monday night. Carson Palmer drive 2, starting from his own 20. And over the middle, it's complete. Jermaine Gresham, the former Bengal, gains 21 and an Arizona first down.
Well, you might as well go after the 5th safety of the Ravens. Brendan Trawick, number 28, forced into duty because of all the injuries. Can't handle Jermaine Gresham. The ex-Pro Bowl tight end, another former Cincinnati Bengal. That looked easy.
Trawick has mostly been a special teams player in his 3rd year out of Troy. In because of the injury to Kendrick Lewis, and they've lost a bunch of other safeties during the year. Palmer back at it, climbs the pocket, looking for Michael Floyd. Inside the 30, Floyd pushed out of bounds to the 27. It's a gain of 32.
When you have speed like John Brown, you can use it in a lot of different ways. He clears it out deep, and that allows Michael Floyd to work the vacated zone underneath. A beautiful corner route by Floyd, who's now healthy. Mike, Floyd hasn't done much yet this year. He had a terrible hand injury, broke 3 fingers, but he averaged 18 yards a catch last year. They have 3 men that can go get the ball deep.
With deep passes to start this drive, trying to set up the run with Chris Johnson. Bouncing off a tackle, Johnson picking up blocks, might go, will go. Cardinal touchdown.
This is something I haven't seen in the desert in a long time. Balance. And a lot of people think that Chris Johnson is an old back. He's 30 years old, Mike. And he's hungry. Watch Chris Johnson off the right side on this stretch play. He shows his strength in the hole. Shedding tacklers. And once he finds his gear, he's gone. But Chris Johnson has found new life in Arizona. And if this offense becomes balanced, they become almost unstoppable, Mike, with these receivers and this quarterback playing the way he is.
3 20-plus yard plays. Catanzaro with the extra point. And Arizona responds quickly. Just a minute 26 after the Baltimore field goal. Capped off by the touchdown for Johnson. Mentioned earlier that Chris Johnson's lucky to be alive. He happened to be checking his cell phone, so was a bit hunched over when at 4 a.m. on a Sunday morning he was in Orlando, a passenger in a car. It was a drive-by shooting. The driver was killed. Johnson saw the bullet go into his shoulder, lodge in his trap. No surgery was required. It's a question if Johnson was going to be able to sign. The Cardinals brought him here, checked him out, passed the physical, and he has come in and gotten off to a good start. Top 5 in the league in rushing entering this week, playing about half the snaps, and just took in his 3rd touchdown for Bruce Arians' team. This mix of veterans and young players throughout this roster. And Johnson has come in and given them a much different look in the running back position. So the Ravens figure out what in the wide world they can do on the back end because they are struggling in the secondary. Catanzaro kicks off to Jeremy Ross. And no return here. Lisa, you spoke to Chris Johnson on Saturday.
Yeah, Mike. Well, Chris Johnson still has that bullet in his right shoulder. Doctors told him that it would cause too much damage to take it out, but he's still feeling the effects of that gunshot wound. Right after it happened, he said that he started experiencing throbbing pain in his right hand because of nerve damage. It lasted for about 3 months. He couldn't even move his right hand. Eventually, it started to feel better, he said, but he had to relearn how to grip the football. I asked him if it bothers him now. He said sometimes you'll see him flexing his hand on the sideline. He said that's just to relieve the pressure because sometimes he still has cramping. Mike?
Wow. Thanks, Lise. Flacco first down pass. Morrow was chasing him, Josh Morrow, and Flacco just had to get rid of it, and the pass incomplete.
Arizona continues to blitz. 2 approaches here with this Cardinal defense. They show pressure and they bluff out of there and don't bring it. And every once in a while, they're still bringing their well-known pressures, Mike. They have the coverage people to handle one-on-one in the back end all across the board. Powers, Peterson, and the Honey Badger can get it done.
2nd and 10 for set. Good job finding space. Nice blocking with those 3 receivers in the bunch on the right side. Forsett gains 8 yards. So you all know what happened with Ray Rice, and Justin Forsett ends up becoming the back last year, and he goes to the Pro Bowl. 1,266 yards, 5th in the league. Truly a journeyman back. You see that he was there with the Seahawks, backed up Marshawn Lynch for a bit, went to Houston for a year, Jacksonville for a year. He's never the featured back anywhere. Got here and did a great job for Baltimore last year, and he's off to a good start again this season. 3rd and 1, pressure up the middle. The flag is down, stopping the play before Marcus Golden, pulls down Forsett.
There was no play. There was no play prior to the snap. False start. Offense number 44. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Timely mistake by the fullback. Juszczyk.
And here comes Dwight Freeney again. A couple weeks ago, Freeney was signed to bolster this pass rush. You're going to see Marcus Golden, the rookie from Missouri, on one side, the veteran Freeney on the other. They need to pick up their pressure in these 3rd down situations.
In the slot to Flacco's left will be Steve Smith Sr. against Peterson. 3rd and 6. Looking that way, going that way. Smith across the middle. First down to the 45 and a gain of 21.
How does he do it? Steve Smith, he's got back problems. I think he has some broken bones in his back, and he's having one of the great starts to his career. Here's a shallow cross against Patrick Peterson. Joe Flacco gives him a ball that he can run with, and Steve Smith picks it up. There's Dwight Freeney on a power rush against Wagner, and Wagner does an excellent job. First down, Baltimore. You got to love Steve Smith.
4 microfractures in his back. You heard on Countdown his conversation with Lisa. He's wearing all quarterback protection. Rib jacket, protect the back. Playoff just in time. And Forsett got away from 2 and lucky to get a yard out of this as Dayon Buchanan stops him.
It's what you see Joe Flacco do a lot in this running game. There's a lot of check with me's. They'll call a strong side run. They'll kill it with a weak side run. That time he barely got the play off. And then 2nd down and long, here's a veteran Steve Smith. But who else, Mike, in this Raven receiving corps can step up tonight? Joe Flacco needs some more viable targets.
See 37, Javorius Buck Allen, rookie out of Southern Cal, 4th round pick. He's the back replacing Forsett. Smith and Peterson go to the left. And Allen up the middle. Got tripped, otherwise could have been a bigger gain. Onto the Cardinals side of the 47-yard line. Third down for Mark Trestman to find a play on his play sheet. Was the Bears head coach the last couple of years. Has had so many stops. And John, he came in and he tried to keep as much of the offensive terminology the same for Joe Flacco, who's on his fourth coordinator in 4 years.
Just unfortunate they've had no continuity at the skill positions. Other than Steve Smith, there's a lot of unknowns at tight end and at wide receiver, and it's been tough on Flacco.
Third and 3, pressure up the middle. Buchanan goes up in the air. The pass is caught by Nick Boyle, the rookie out of Delaware. Blue hen to blue hen. First down for the Ravens.
Blue hen to blue hen. Watch the blitz. It's going to come right up the middle in Flacco's face. Whew. And he stands in there, throws a beautiful hot throw to the rookie tight end. Joe Flacco will not go quietly. You can say they're 1-5. Things haven't gone well. They've had a lot of West Coast trips, but adversity usually brings out the best in Joe Flacco.
One drive for Baltimore, a field goal, and Arizona responded with a touchdown. After one, here in Glendale, Cardinals 7, Ravens 3 on Monday Night Football. Back here in Glendale, Arizona leading Baltimore 7-3. Remember the TV show Lost?
Yeah.
Well, Joe Flacco's lost all of his offensive pieces and 3 different offensive coordinators the last 3 years. Now it's 4 in 4 years with the addition of Mark Trestman. And the people he used to hand it to or throw it to are gone. Bold and Torrey Smith, those two guys are in San Francisco. They were on the opposite sideline last week. Where Jacoby Jones, big plays in the Super Bowl. Pitt is still trying to come back from his hip injury. It's not Oceanic Flight 815, which was the theme for that TV show Lost. But Flacco's left alone on the island. All of his pieces, not one guy to hand it or throw it to, who was with him on that Super Bowl Sunday just under 3 years ago.
Including his first-round draft choice, Perryman, the wide receiver they were counting on.
So a good start for the Ravens. First and 10 for the 38. Well, you lose yardage there as Buchanan gets in to stop Forsett for the loss of 1. John, how tough is that on a quarterback?
You have no idea how tough it is when you have 4 different offensive coordinators in 4 years. That's why I called the plays when I was coaching, because I didn't want to replace the coordinator every year. Gary Kubiak not only left and went to Denver, he took 3 coaches with him. So everything's new every year to Flacco, and you're telling me he's got a brand new supporting cast? Good luck.
Sometimes those small things are the difference in all these close games they've lost. Second and 11, pressure up the middle. Flacco throwing deep, and it's Givens who couldn't hang on. The Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu there in coverage. Givens had to step on him.
I think Joe missed that throw. Givens was acquired in a trade from the St. Louis Rams because he can run. I'm sorry, he's in the slot. Going right down the middle of the defense. Ball's underthrown, and Tyrann Mathieu makes an excellent play. How about that hang time? But Flacco underthrew Givens. He had him.
As the ball came down, I believe it hit his shoe and stayed up in the air. Could have been intercepted. In any case, it is 3rd and 11. Cardinals bring 4. Ravens block it. And Flacco finds Smith, as he's done so many times. First down, Steve Smith, senior.
Credit the Raven offensive line. This group is intact from left tackle to right tackle. They give Flacco time to step up in the pocket, and he hums a strike to Steve Smith. Just watch the pass protection. There's no one near Flacco. Good timing. I'm convinced Steve Smith lists his victims, Mike. He has a list of all his victims. I think I'm at the top of his list.
Sounds like personal experience there. Play 10 of the draw. They'll run Forsett left. Only gain a yard on that one. Calais Campbell combining with Ed Stinson. We have a penalty flag down. Preliminary signal on Baltimore.
Holding. Offense number 60. 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
At the left tackle, Eugene Monroe. Well, John, you talked about it. Among the coaches Steve Smith has faced in his career, only Sean Payton, right up there, your pal is in the same neighborhood. So you're not kidding when you say it.
Mike, when he walked into production meeting the other day, I started sweating. I did not ever like to see Steve Smith and Rodney Harrison. Those were the two guys that they really bother me.
Still scare you?
They're scary.
So when Rodney's on Sunday nights, you just kind of turn away?
Gotta go.
First and 20 after the flag on the tackle Monroe. Deep drop Flacco over the head of Juszczyk. And incomplete. Couldn't get that screen set up.
You just see the frustration in Flacco's eyes. He misses Givens down the field, and that time he has Juszczyk in the flat on a screen pass. Just not able to connect on all cylinders. It's been sluggish this year for this Raven offense.
The officials met briefly for a conference. The play clock was not reset. The Ravens didn't stop what they were doing, so they stay on time for 2nd and 20.
Oh, boy.
Look out. Honey Badger right there. And he brings down Givens for a big loss.
I love this kid. His playing style at this size is unbelievable. He's 5'9", 185 pounds, and he plays with a vicious mentality. That time, it's a safety blitz. And his instincts, Mike, he doesn't overrun plays. He senses plays. He trusts his preparation. And he loves the big lights. Going to be a great one.
They lost 8 yards on that play. Prior play, you had the penalty. Arizona has to take a timeout because they have 12 players on the field. Don't want to get caught here. Right now, Baltimore's out of field goal range, but only a few yards away from getting Tucker close. ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA. Gillette, 1 Pro Glide refill, up to 1 month of comfortable shades. And ESPNFanshop.com, which is powered by Dick's Sporting Goods. Hello, Acuna, great artist who carves pumpkins in the Enchanted Pumpkin Garden over in Carefree, Arizona. So his handiwork there as we get to the Halloween season. The weekend, I should say. So they're at the 40. From here, it's a 58-yard field goal. Tucker is one of the strongest legs in the league. On 3rd and 27, the Ravens would serve themselves just getting 10 yards and try to get even closer for Tucker. Arizona blitzes. That's why they run 4 set, and he can't get away from it. Chased down by Calais Campbell. Let's see what Harbaugh will do. 58-yard field goal from here, so they will punt.
That's a great call. That's a great call. They're going to bring a blitz off the left side. You'll see Tyrann Mathieu in the charge, but it's Calais Campbell. And that range that he has, that's uncommon at the defensive line position. This man can run.
At 6'8", 300 pounds. Some very good punters in the AFC, especially the AFC North. Sam Cook, outstanding. 2nd in net in the NFL this year. Fair catch signal made, and will it be stopped at the goal line? Trying to keep the toes inside the line and keep the ball from breaking it. I think it looked all good there. Darren Waller started it. Anthony Levine finished it off as 99 yards to go for Arizona. You mentioned Cook, one of the outstanding punters in terms of net. Bailed out Flacco and company on that one. Bruce Arians has thrown the challenge flag. Steve Smith on the right is talking to Darren Waller, who's down there trying to keep the ball in. Again, in college, it's if the ball breaks the plane. Bring in Jerry Austin. In the pros, it's where the feet of the player are. Jerry, what do you see here?
From what I see right here, he's about a half inch from the line. Therefore, he's still in the field of play. Forget where the ball is. It's the feet of the man that's going to possess it. And once it's possessed, and then releases it, the ball becomes dead.
That's going to be the key right here, Jerry. Is he touching the line, or is he on the good side of the line? Is there anything definitive to say he is touching? Because the ruling on the field was that he was not.
That is correct. And the ruling here is they have to have irrefutable visual evidence to change it.
So Ron Torbert's been in conversation with the Game Day Central in New York. And we'll have the conclusion to see where Arizona has it.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Arizona will be charged with their second timeout of the half.
So they have one timeout. They can't earn a third challenge. John, they've got 99 yards to go, but that doesn't stop Arizona from having the full playbook available to them.
No, it doesn't. They're well known to go deep here. If the look presents itself in a predictable running situation, Palmer will throw it. What does irrefutable mean, Mike?
I think you got to be sure. Are you sure?
Be sure that you're careful with John Brown at the top of the screen.
14 plays in NFL history have gone for 99 yards. Palmer will just hand it off. Won't go for the deep shot here. Chris Johnson for one. And the Ravens stop him there. Well, you talked about the deep shots and the penchant to go yard, if you will. 21-plus yards down the field. 11 times he challenged the Steelers. That's a career high for Carson Palmer. And then when you try to set it up this week, John, this is a weakness for the Ravens defense.
And it really handicaps defensive coordinator Dean Pease because he wants to get help for his secondary men, but when he does that, they're vulnerable against the run. Let's see what happens.
Rookie David Johnson is the back now. Palmer throwing Fitzgerald. There's space to operate, and then some. Larry Fitzgerald will be marked out at the 16. A 13-yard first down game.
It's a beautiful slot combination. Two receivers together. John Brown, once again, the deep element, and it's Larry Fitzgerald, who is having an unbelievable season. Blocking, receiving. He's the emotional leader of the Cardinals.
He's rolling 170 in a row now in his 12th year out of Pittsburgh. And a career best start through 6 games for Fitz. Chris Johnson left. Gain about 2 yards.
You know, Bruce Arians, he's been around, Mike. 63 years old. This is his 13th stop. And I bet he's having more fun calling running plays than he's ever had before. Last year, just 3.5 yards, less than that per carry. But this year, it's the balance in this offense that has opened up his playbook, and it changes every week. He's got an extensive game plan, and here's the first time they've been in that no-back set that he's known for.
Andre Ellington jumps out, so it's 5 receivers for 2nd and 6. You see how Palmer, look right, is covered, takes off in the middle, and Carson gains 3 yards to the 23-yard line before being pulled down by his fellow veteran and Chris Canty, now in his 11th year in the league.
Every week, you're going to see 10 to 12 shots of no-back formations, and it's important defensively. Watch the Ravens. They're going to show blitz. You don't know who's coming and who's going. That time they had a strange blitz. You saw number 54, Zachary Orr, a backup linebacker, obviously blitzed the wrong gap. And it's these errors that they've made on defense that have been very frustrating to this Raven coaching staff.
You can just see communication here. Darryl Smith's trying to get his guys lined up. They're all over the map with confusion. And the timeout is taken by Baltimore. It looked like there was nobody to cover J.J. Nelson. Timeout Ravens. Comes down, time to shine the Monday night lights on a terrific team in the area. Jim Rattay is the coach. The school is Cesar Chavez High School, located in Laveen, just south of Phoenix. 7 state titles. Coach Rattay over 300 wins. This team's 8-1 this year. They got a chance to go visit the Cardinals yesterday as they went through their final walkthrough, talked to the likes of Carson Palmer, Tyrann Mathieu, Calais Campbell, and others. They played Division III, the Arizona Interscholastic Association. Won 8 in a row, 4 shutouts. Trying to make another run at a title. Chance to take a selfie with BA and the rest of the Cards. We salute Cesar Chavez High School in the Phoenix area here tonight. 3rd and 3, 5 in the pattern for Palmer, who goes for the tight end Gresham. Can't hang on. Big hit coming across by Will Hill. And the safety play of the Ravens brings up 4th down.
I love that. Will Hill says, you want to throw the vertical passing game against us? Go ahead. What a beautiful range play by Will Hill. He times it perfectly. And that's legal.
In the strike zone there, below the helmet. Jeremy Ross back for the punt. Kicked away by Drew Butler. Kick is 52, and a fair caught at the 25 by Ross. And a flag comes down. Right at the end of the kick on the far side. Illegal block in the back on Trey Walker. And Jerry Rossburn, veteran special teams coach, will talk to the player that'll push it back for the Ravens when we come back. Well, Tyrann Mathieu, there were questions about his size coming out of LSU, and then questions, would he be mature enough to do it on a down-in, down-out basis in the league? Not from a football standpoint, but with the other decisions. Remember, he was dismissed from LSU. But Tyrann Mathieu has come into the league and battled injuries his first couple of seasons, and this year is having a real breakthrough season. Hope you got to see John's visit with Tyrann Mathieu from Monday Night Countdown. A great, knowledgeable football player who really seems to have his act in order and has done a sensational job on the field in the first 6 games of this Cardinals season. The 16, it's Flacco. The pressure up the middle, Woodley chasing him, and Flacco throws, look out! Big hit, but it's rather Justin Forsett who hangs on after Rashad Johnson hits him. Gain of about 4.
A lot of speed in his Arizona secondary. They play at least 5 defensive backs at a time. That time, Rashad Johnson, another SEC defensive back, read that the whole way for the big hit. It's second down at 6. Peterson, Mathieu, Rashad Johnson, and Gerard Powers played at Auburn. Very tight-knit group, a lot of speed.
You get the whole SEC network in the back end here for the Cardinals. There's Powers who came up. War Eagle.
You have to appreciate cornerbacks that tackle. Everybody talks about Carolina, their corners tackle. You'll see Powers come off the left side and form fit Justin Forsett for nothing. That's impressive when you can get your corners to be physical presence people off the edge. Nice work.
Ravens can't run it so far. 10 for 19 yards. So this secondary gets a chance to show what they're made of. Flacco has looked for Smith in these pressure shots. Third down. And underneath it's Ross this time. Got a block from Smith. They'll get the first down right near the 30-yard line. Bruce Arians is saying that should be offensive pass interference on Smith.
Oh, when Jeremy Ross is in the game, it's going to be a quick screen, a jet sweep, or a reverse. Watch Steve Smith. Is it or isn't it legal? I don't think it is, but
he's not blocking, he's just getting in the way. You can block within a yard or so. If you are contacting and blocking 2 yards from the line of scrimmage as a receiver, and they've been very good about calling that this year, just getting in the way is a tough one for the officials. First down, and Flacco with a shot, and Smith able to pull that one down despite the hit from Johnson at the 42-yard line, a gain of 28.
It's a great job by Mark Trespin. They switched the release of these seam route runners, and Smith came clean. Watch number 14, Brown, and Smith, 89, switch on their release, and it's a great throw by Joe Flacco, and Steve Smith, no fear in the crowd, none.
3 for 67 for Smith. People have talked about him retiring after this year. He still says he's on pace to do that. Some folks said tough Ravens season, maybe they should trade him. Buck Allen with the run to the 30. Allen to the 27-yard line. First down run of 15 yards. Lisa, what's Steve Smith tell you about trade possibility this week?
Yeah, Mike, he said he has no intention of playing for any other team other than the Ravens to close out his career. When he heard the talk, he talked to the Ravens, they talked to him, assured him they were not shopping him. But I asked him why he wouldn't even consider it to close out with a contender. And he said, look, if you're cashing it in week 7, then you don't have faith that we can turn it around. He said, we believe we can turn it around here, and I'm settled in Baltimore. This is the last team I'm playing for.
He says he's going to hang him up after this year. Rashad Johnson, the safety, is out. Flacco comes to the near side in front of Patrick Peterson. It's caught by Marlon Brown. third-year receiver, undrafted out of Georgia. Minimal gain of 2.
Look at Joe Flacco in the huddle. He's got Aiken number 11. He was on the practice squad not long ago. He's got a lot of unknown receivers. You've seen Ross number 10. You've got a rookie tight end. He's got a new offense. You're on the road. You got to credit Joe Flacco. He's been as much a teacher as he has been a quarterback, and he's got his hands full. Let's see if he can finish a drive.
Buck Allen in the back will take the screen on 2nd and 7, and he'll put his shoulder down. The rookie out of Southern Cal gets the first down at the 15, make it the 14-yard line.
Wow, Buck Allen had a big year at SC. Real speed. Watch this sideline drill. I like that. Lower the shoulder. Don't step out of bounds. Don't get pushed out of bounds. Get knocked out of bounds. Unless the clock says differently. Good work by the young halfback. Forsett is back.
Nice drive here by the Ravens again. Starting safety Rashad Johnson out 2 plays ago. 22 in red. Tony Jefferson in his place. Here's Forsett picking through. And Forsett into the end zone. And Baltimore on top.
And Tony Jefferson at free safety can see why Forsett is in the Pro Bowl. Watch Justin Forsett. He uses his size to his advantage. He's going to hide behind his offensive line. He's going to cut this back, and he's going to find Jefferson one-on-one in the open field. And how about that move? Justin Forsett, that's worth a second look, Mike. Watch this. This guy's a good back. He came out of nowhere, almost 1,300 yards last year, and that's what he's known for, making big runs. Got to credit the Ravens to come on the road after a tough West Coast trip last week to take the lead before the half.
Is that the remote control? You renamed the remote control? That's great.
I love it.
Name the whole show after you at some point here. Tucker to make it 10-7. Speed off the edge by Justin Bethel. He gets so close to blocking kicks. Justin Forsett backing up the Pro Bowl season with another good one. In the end zone to put Baltimore on top by 3. Of course, after the game, it will be SportsCenter at night. Scott Van Pelt, as always, after the Monday Nighters. Not only do we have Steve Young and Ray Lewis, Trent Dilfer, the former Ravens, those last 2, and Steve Levy here, but SVP's got you covered. World Series preview, and Urban Meyer, head coach of the Rolling Buckeyes, will join Scott. So plenty ahead after we're done here in Glendale tonight. SportsCenter at night. Good drive. Flacco was 5 for 5, John. They went 84 yards down the field. Buck Allen with a big play. Smith with a big play, and the touchdown by Forsett. Baltimore's on top here, late second.
Been impressive. Let's see what Arizona's made.
And on the Tucker kickoff. When we talk about Larry Fitzgerald, who stayed out here in the desert after 11 years, thought maybe no more, maybe we go somewhere else. But they figured out the contract. He's hit a position switch, and his first 6 games, John, those numbers, 43, 583, 6 touchdowns, all career best in the first 6 games of the season for him.
He's what a pro football player is all about right there.
I love coming to do Cardinal games and talking to him. Great perspective. Very thoughtful. Whole scope of the game, and so many different quarterbacks through the ways after Kurt Warner. Here Palmer is in trouble. Nobody open downfield. Keeps it alive and just benches it. That's good coverage by the Ravens secondary. Doomerville tried to get to him.
He was looking for his star wide receiver on a shallow cross. And Webb, number 21, gets some help from his linebacker teammate. And there's Elvis Doomerville. He had 17 sacks last year. He's staying alive. And
it's a 5'11 guy, and 6'8 Beldier is just kind of tantalizingly holding him away. No, you're not getting to my quarterback. Using those long arms was Jared. Andre Ellington in the slot. An underneath pass to the aforementioned Fitzgerald, a yard shy of the first down.
They like these empty formations to get a pre-snap read for the quarterback. He sees this man-to-man all the way. It's a sharp slant pattern by Fitzgerald against the veteran Webb. And it sets up a 3rd down and 1. Baltimore has had a hard time defending play action passes in these situations. But it looks like Arizona is going to throw the ball from an open formation.
Gresham in the short motion, and they will throw it and go up top for Fitzgerald. Incomplete. So on 3rd and 1, where the Ravens had just been unable to stop anyone this year, they go for the shot, and they're doing a good job on 3rd down defense tonight.
Well, they try to run a little pick play at the bottom of the screen. You're going to see John Brown come down and pick Webb, the corner who plays over the top. And this Raven defense, who gave up 48%, 31st in the league, has been off the field all 3 times on 3rd down. You got to credit this Raven defense.
Good kick by Butler. Very good kick. 63 yards. Sends Ross back to the 17. And return to the 24. Ball comes out there. Buchanan a bit shaken up on the play as well. Let's see. It is Cardinals ball. The field judge pointing that it's Arizona ball.
And there's a late flag as well.
Justin Bethel, outstanding special teamer down there. Let's take a peek here as Bethel tries to pull it away from Ross. Is the knee down before the ball is moving? That will be the question. And this will be a very tight one. Ruled on the field initially as a turnover. We saw the point. See, that knee is down. We'll go piece the replays together. And there you see the contact. Buchanan got hit hard by Courtney Upshaw.
The ruling on the field is that the ball was fumbled and recovered by Arizona. After the recovery, it was a dead ball. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness by number 27, Baltimore. That foul will be assessed half the distance from the end of the play. Arizona's ball, first down.
Asa Jackson is the one who picks up that late flag. Not Upshaw who's involved in that play there. Now that is a turnover, so they'll take a look at it to see if the special teams Pro Bowler Bethel knocked it out. Ron Torbert, the referee, has looked. New York has had a look. Jerry Austin, twice Super Bowl referee, is with us, and we've watched the replays here in break. And here's Ron Torbert with the answer.
Well, what we're going to see is the knee is so close to the ground.
After review, the ruling on the field stands with the Arizona's ball, first and 10, the 12.5-yard line.
There's not sufficient evidence to say whether he's down or not down. That's why they let the call stand, but his knee's on the ground. You don't have the best look of the ball.
Here was the penalty that happened on the back end. There's a lot of back and forth with Britton Golden, the wide receiver, and Asa Jackson of the Ravens. Both look just as guilty. They pick up Jackson for continuing it on, so you have the turnover and tack on half the distance on the penalty. So the Cardinals have a golden opportunity to take the lead. Chris Johnson the back. Gresham stood up at the point of attack. Courtney Upshaw standoff, allow the other Ravens to get to it, and there'll be no gain.
Welcome back, Chris Canty.
Canty made a good play there to help on that stop. John, this has been, what the Cardinals told us, the problem they've had this season, especially against Pittsburgh, down inside the 20.
Well, they had plays there. It just didn't make them last week. Let's see if they can capitalize on a turnover.
Second and 12. Palmer for Fitzgerald, and that's broken up by Webb, and a flag comes in.
I thought Webb played this perfectly. And the one area on defense the Ravens have been excellent at is their red zone defense. It's a sharp post pattern. Fitzgerald widens out of his stance, breaks sharply back to the post. I think that's a great play by Webb.
Interference, defense, the hook and turn. Automatic first down.
It's the hook and turn, so the arm we don't see there is what they called. And at least he was specific with the call so you can get a look at it. They call not the left arm or the contact, but the right arm hooking and turning. And we'll see if that was worthy of a flag or not. In any case, it's first and goal for Arizona at the 3. blocking. Johnson stopped shy of the goal line as we get to the 2.
I don't ever see wide receivers do what Larry Fitzgerald just did there, Mike. I want to run an isolation, get a fullback or a guard, but not many people use their Pro Bowl flanker. Wow.
2-minute warning here in Arizona. Turnover gets Arizona close. 2nd and 12 pass interference. You see the right arm of Webb? That's what they called as a pass interference because they said hook and turn. And it looked like that arm got there as the ball arrived. It's interesting. Jerry Austin, you, John, both don't think that should have been pass interference. It's 2nd and goal for Arizona here at the 2. Trying to take the lead. Palmer throws it back to the corner. Gresham. A lot of contact, and it'll be 1st and goal at the 1. That one was easy.
Now they got the backup safety who has struggled. Trawick, 28. Larry Fitzgerald sells the running play, and that's clearly PI. A lot of penalties this year against the Raven defense.
Pass interference. Defense, number 28. Half the distance to the goal from the previous spot. Automatic 1st down.
And number 53, A.Q. Shipley, has checked in as a fullback. Must keep an eye on Jermaine Gresham, a huge tight end in these goal line situations.
Going for him there, and the Trawick penalty will make it 1st and goal at the 1. That's 7 penalties on the Ravens in this first half. Arizona assessed just 1.
Eligible. 53 and 79 are eligible.
Bradley Sowell along with A.Q. Shipley, the former Raven. First and goal, and it is Johnson who is stopped. Loss of a couple of yards.
Boy, C.J. Mosley, if you want to play between the tackles, you're going to have a hard time running the ball against Baltimore with this front and this young linebacker. Watch number 57. He reads this power play all the way. He runs through and stuffs it. He took on a pulling guard and made the tackle. That's as good a play as you'll see a linebacker make ever. Nice work by Mosley. 2nd and 3.
17th overall pick, Alabama. He come in and be the guy to replace what Ray Lewis brought. Well, nobody can do that. But he's held himself quite well in his first year plus. But now 2nd and goal. They'll spread him out and throw it for Fitzgerald. Incomplete. There was bumping and a rub and a lot of contact. And Fitzgerald couldn't get to the pylon. Now it's 3rd and goal.
That's the 2nd time they've tried to work a slot combination with a brush off, and you see Webb fight through the traffic. You got to let these guys play a little bit. 3rd down and goal, and the red zone struggles of this Cardinal offense continue. Here they come in a no back set inside the 5.
David Johnson, the running back, the rookie running back, is in the slot at the top of the screen. Palmer on the smack, Michael Floyd into the end zone. Arizona takes the lead. And we have a flag down in the end zone.
Carson Palmer with a late signal.
There is no foul on the play. The result of the play is a touchdown.
He saw the coverage right before the. He'll signal to his left. Floyd and the rookie Johnson see it all the way, and Johnson runs clearance for Floyd. Watch 31. Johnson on the line of scrimmage. Break to the outside and brush off the coverage. And Carson Palmer with a beautiful quick release to give Arizona the lead.
There's so much communication there, both the offense and the defense. And the big body of Michael Floyd at 6'2", getting in the way, getting in the end zone for the 2nd time. Catanzaro adds the extra point. 14-10, Arizona with a touchdown in each quarter. Back on top by 4. Touchdown thrown by Carson Palmer. First tonight, 15th on the season, as he makes start number 150, trying to get his career record up to 500. We've seen it over the years in Cincinnati. There was some talent, there was some good plays, big moments, Chad Ochocinco, all that stuff. The knee injury, just couldn't get over the hump, and then he says, that's it, I want out of Cincinnati. Goes to the Raiders. It was a disappointment there, but shows up here, John, and this record since week 8 of 2013, 17-4 in win percentage. It's right there with Manning and Brady and Rodgers, who played more because Palmer missed all that time last year with the injury.
I think it's his best chance to not only get to the playoffs and win, but it's his best chance to win a championship. He loves this offense. It's his 3rd year in the system. He understands it. He's got an excellent supporting cast, and they have experience playing together. There's a lot of continuity on this Arizona offense, and it could pay huge dividends down the stretch.
No return on this kickoff. When you watched Palmer as we were getting ready for this game, I thought he made an interesting point. Here's a guy coming off an ACL injury, but he's mobile. His arm looks live. He looks like a young quarterback, not a guy towards the end of his career.
No, he had his knee surgically repaired. I asked him if they installed a jugs machine in his right shoulder. His movement in the pocket has been excellent, and his arm strength much improved because he had time to rest his arm, strengthen it. With all the time that he had working on the knee, it's as good as Palmer's played in a while. Let's see if their defense can finish the half.
Baltimore 2 timeouts, a minute 1 on the clock. They get the ball to start the second half. And they go to Crockett Gilmore, their tight end, dragging Buchanan, who set him up for a hit to come off the line from Frosty Rucker. Gain of 8.
This is an area Baltimore has really struggled, the 2-minute drill. Struggled at the end of games, the 49er game, the Bengal game, the Bronco game. I didn't like their 2-minute offense at the end of the half either. They haven't scored a lot of points in this 2-minute drill, and that's uncommon for Flacco.
Timeout taken here. There'll be 1 more to go for the Ravens. They try to decide if they're going to hop into a little quicker 2-minute pace. Well, the Toyota halftime coming up. Boomer's final drive is ahead. Chris Berman, his thoughts on those undefeated teams, their impressive performances yesterday. Adam and Mort have plenty of news. A coordinator change coming in Detroit. And Jalen Rose will join us from our studio in Los Angeles as we get set for the opening of the NBA season. The league opens tomorrow night. We'll have a doubleheader Wednesday night on ESPN. Jalen will set the table for you at halftime. 2nd and 2, Flacco. That is behind Forsett, incomplete. It's 3rd down. With 49 to go.
Now look at this Arizona defense. Who would have thought that Lamar Woodley would be on the sideline in a 2-minute drill? The ex-Pittsburgh Steeler has come to Arizona, has pretty much just been a run defender. They're going with Freeney, Marcus Golden. Important they get off the field and take a lead to the break. Like all-out blitz.
3rd and 2. Flacco with Freeney chasing. It's caught, but Forsett stays alive and gets pulled down by Tyrann Mathieu. With 40 seconds left, we'll see if Arizona takes the timeout and forces the punt here from Baltimore.
That's what Arizona does a great job. It looks like it's going to be an all-out blitz. And right before the snap of the ball, they don't bring 6. They bring 4, and they play a zone coverage. They fool Joe Flacco and the Ravens. And here he is, Mike. Patrick Peterson, extremely dangerous. I'll be surprised if Baltimore even gives him a chance.
They have to snap it with 2 on the game clock. And Cook is very good at placing the ball. He will try not to kick it right down the middle and sends Peterson towards the sideline. It hits a Cardinal. Time's going to expire, so even if the Ravens recovered, they would not have had a chance to do anything with it. Mistake there on that knuckling kick by Cook. Each team scored a touchdown there in the second. The Cardinals lead by 4. Baltimore gets the ball to start the 3rd quarter. And here's Chris with the Toyota halftime. Carson Palmer against Joe Flacco. Used to see that in the AFC North. They renew acquaintances on this Monday night in Arizona. Chris Johnson with a touchdown and 49 first half yards. Justin Forsett, 33 yards and a touch. Ravens were leading until right before the break. They kept knocking on the door down there. Michael Floyd punched it in. Arizona by 4. John Gruden, Mike Tirico. We'll hear from Lisa Salters in a second. Let's look at these numbers here, John. The 7 penalties, the points off turnover, kind of flips the game. It's why Baltimore is not leading. The Ravens had chances and got in their own way a couple of times. Story of their season, story of their first half.
Can't win these tight games when you commit penalties. Here's a illegal substitution. They call it on John Herschel. I thought it was a terrible call, but it stopped the drive. Then the fumble by Jeremy Ross set up Arizona for a score. And then you see the pass interference call, quite obvious on Trowick, the young safety. Penalties, turnover ratio, a big reason why the Ravens are 1-5. They have struggled when they have been behind at halftime. Let's see if they can find a way to get a much-needed win on the road.
Then we get the ball first to start this third quarter. And there is Jeremy Ross. Remember that snow game in Philadelphia, Detroit and Philly? Just a whole bunch of snow very quickly before that game. Ross had a punt return and a kickoff return for touchdown in that one. He was with the Packers. That success he had with the Lions, and now he is with Baltimore. They had to sign him after Michael Campanaro went on IR. Touchback, and Lisa, what's going on with John Harbaugh at the break?
Well, Mike, coming into this game, it was the Ravens defense, particularly the secondary, that was a cause for concern. John Harbaugh just told me that he's pleased with the way the defense is playing. He said they're getting good pressure on Carson Palmer. He said our DBs are doing a good job as well. That turnover didn't help, he said, but that wasn't the defense's fault. And on offense, Harbaugh said it's been tough handling Arizona's pressure, but so far we're doing it. He said the key is when they bring pressure, we've got to make them pay.
Thank you, Lise. 4 drives, a field goal, a touchdown, and a couple of punts. First play, Flacco, the use check. You know what? You throw to him the first play of the first half and the second half last week, and you throw to him the first play of this game. You're going to kind of watch him the first play of this half. Get that figured
you got
out.
to be careful, Mike, when Dayon Buchanan, this young inside linebacker, number 20, is going to come from inside out with 32. Tyrann Mathieu. They were right with you, Mike. They read the scouting report. Watch a fullback in a flat. They were in a contest to see who could get there first.
Loss of a yard. And on 2nd and 11, Forsett's got nowhere to go. Frosty Rucker, that 10-year vet, John, his hold off of Wagner there allowed the linebackers to come and make the tackle.
I don't know what Buchanan is. He was drafted as a safety in the first round, but all he plays is linebacker. There should be an investigation. He should be wearing number 50 because he hasn't played a single snap of safety yet. This young man is an inside linebacker and the leading tackler of this Cardinal defense. They got to put him in a linebacker number soon.
No more investigations. Marlon Brown is the motion man. 3rd and 10. Flacco down. Freeney. Dwight Freeney back in the sack column.
Guess what move he used? He sets you up with the speed rush. He gets Monroe working up the field, and watch him on the spin move. Good night. General Manager Steve Keim deserves a lot of credit. He brought in 5 veteran Pro Bowl players: Chris Johnson, Freeney, Gresham. You've seen them all pay huge dividends already tonight.
The top 25 sack men of all time since they've been counting individual sacks is Dwight Freeney. Cook with the punt. Again, a lot of different looks. This one down the middle, and Peterson's got it at the 40 with a head of Steve Peterson. Great tackle. Return of 11. Anthony Levine Sr. Excellent special teams play. Net of 40 on that one. 112.5 sacks, most of them with the Colts. There's one as a Card. ESPN's Monday Night Football, brought to you by GMC. We are professional grade. NFLshop.com. Find the largest selection of NFL products at the official store of the NFL. And Dunkin' Donuts. Check out this week's excessive celebration at DD FieldPass.com. Spider Camp coverage tonight brought to you by DirecTV. Say hi, John. Blacky's here, Jerry's here, Marty Aronoff, MVP, Hall of Fame stat man, Tony Granieri over there. Nice spot. Good to have the whole team on hand here. University of Phoenix Stadium in Glendale. Great field position to start the third for Carson Palmer and the Cardinals. On the Ravens side of the 49, Chris Johnson cut it up, got 5, can't do the tackle.
This running game much improved. You see it in the first half. Look at A.Q. Shipley set the edge. Wow. Chris Johnson takes advantage of that. Then they run a stretch play to the right. You see the zone blocking. And if you get Chris Johnson to the second level, he has the physicality to get through the second level. Beautiful open field running. 2nd and 5, great field position.
See the rush yards, 57. Ravens give up 94 a game. It's top 10 in the league. Arizona, a good first half. Palmer pressured, may have had his arm hit as that pass was incomplete. Good pass rush by Elvis Dumervil to get in there.
Well, they wanted to go to Michael Floyd one-on-one against Sharice Wright. But it's a pass rush. You saw Freeney on the previous possession. That time Elvis Dumervil saves the day because Palmer wanted Floyd against Sharice Wright, who just got to Baltimore.
Sharice Wright was cut by San Francisco, played against the 49ers, beaten for a couple of touchdowns. Jermaine Gresham got hit in the head on that play, so he's come out. David Johnson in at running back on 3rd and 5, and the Ravens bring heat. Palmer up top for Brown. What a grab at the 10.
What a grab, what a throw. He threw this ball before Brown was 20 yards down the field. What anticipation by Palmer, and John Brown finds the ball in flight and protects it on impact. Great play. You know, Tom Moore, the ex-offensive coordinator of the Indianapolis Colts, is here. He had Marvin Harrison. So did Bruce Arians, and they compare young John Brown to a young Marvin Harrison, and that's saying something coming from these kind of coaches.
Tom's 37th year in the NFL. He's seen a lot and coached a lot of greats, too. David Johnson the back. He's got it. Chris Canty. It's 3rd time we've called Canty here out of the gate in the second half.
You know, Canty's missing a lot of his friends. McPhee left for Chicago. Suggs is on IR. Haloti Ngata in Detroit. And Chris Canty, number 99, has missed a few games. It's great to see him back. You see the hand usage. He, too, has tremendous size for an inside player. Played well for a long time.
Yeah, good in all those places. 4 years in Dallas, 4 with the Giants, 3rd here in the Raven purple. Second and goal, 5 in the pattern. It's a slant, and it is cut off. Brown could not get to his landmark. Jimmy Smith kept him from the spot.
You know, when you see a no-back operation, blitz it. They have no back, so blitz everybody, and they'll be one short in pass protection. You'll see the rookie from Kentucky unblocked. Palmer has to get to his hot receiver before Zadarius Smith could get there, and that's great work by Dean Pease, the defensive coordinator of the Ravens. He continues to mix it up the best he can with a lot of new players.
Third and goal. They bring the pressure again. This time he beats it with the slant. And David Johnson has the first down. The running back, who, John, for a rookie, has uncommon pass-catching ability.
Oh, you show the same blitz 2 plays in a row. You force the ball to come out. This time Dumervil clean off the edge, and Palmer so quick with that release from the shotgun.
So it'll be 4th and goal, and we'll get the field goal try for Catanzaro from 21 yards. That would have been a career long if he would have made the 55 that he tried earlier on. And Drew Butler will hold it. They're good from 21, and Arizona extends the lead to 7. So taking advantage of the good field position to start this quarter. Arizona, the leaders in the NFC West at 4-2. Their losses by 2 to St. Louis and by 12 last week at Pittsburgh. Joe Flacco and the Ravens are right where they have been all season. In a close game, They have not been able to get over the hump except for the one overtime win on Thursday night in Pittsburgh. They beat the Steelers 23-20. 5 losses by a total of 22 points. It's the worst start in the 20-year franchise history of the Ravens, but as we've seen here tonight, they're not a bad team. Just got to find a way. Got to find a way to solve some of the quality in that Arizona secondary. Includes Tyrann Mathieu, John.
He's unbelievable. He reminds me of a lot of the great players I've studied. I mean, Ronnie Lott, the greatest DBs of all time. One of my favorites, Rondé Barber, the best nickel corner I ever coached. Rodney Harrison drove me crazy. We couldn't block him. Fierce player. Charles Woodson, line him up anywhere on the football field. He's still doing it today. And I love Earl Thomas, one-on-one tackling ability in space. All these great safeties. I see a lot of those qualities in this young Tyrann Mathieu. He's special.
Play action. Flacco first down underneath. He's got his tight end. It's a step by Boyle to the middle to the 31-yard line. It's a gain of 11.
Well, just take a look at Mathieu, what he's done tonight. If you want to throw the ball deep, you need a guy that has recovery speed and range. He covers about 27 yards in a hurry to bat that ball down. He blitzes off the edge, big collision. And then he diagnoses plays extremely well. You see him close. He's got instincts, play speed, presence. And I love the fact Bruce Arians gave this kid a second chance. And I love to see guys take advantage of it.
His versatility is going to come in handy. Gerard Powers, the starting corner, is out for the rest of the game with a left hamstring injury. On first down, Flacco chased by Buchanan, got away, threw it dangerously across the middle, and Boyle's got it for a gain of 4 yards.
Dale Buchanan coming off the edge. You don't know what he is. He's wearing number 20, but he's really a linebacker. They love to blitz him. They love to get him against 4 set. You're going to see him stem on the line of scrimmage and bring it off the left side. And Joe Flacco barely gets this ball away.
It was Juszczyk, not Boyle, my mistake. Buck Allen there in the backfield now on 2nd and 6. Arizona sent to safety deep. Flacco adjusted for the moment and gives to Allen to get it to the 39-yard line. Is that what you were talking about with Flacco's command at the line of scrimmage?
That's great, Mike. He saw the blitz coming to his left. This is a dead play if he runs the ball to his left. So he yells the words out, hey, kill it, kill it, kill it. We're going from a running play to the left to a running play to the right. It's not a big game, but it's a positive play. It would have been a train wreck had he stayed with the run into the blitz. 3rd down and 2. Where is Steve Smith?
Anywhere Patrick Peterson is on these 3rd downs. 4 rush, Flacco underneath, and it's caught for the first down by Marlon Brown. He brought down shy of midfield. And Baltimore moving the chains here. A couple of first downs on this drive.
And Mark Trestman, the offensive coordinator, West Coast background. One of the feature patterns is the shallow cross. And if you throw the ball a foot in front of the receiver's numbers, he has a chance to run with it. Nice work by Flacco. Sets up Baltimore with a first down in great field position.
Justin Bethel, 28, is the player who has come in because of the injury to Powers. Pressure from Mathieu. Allen picked it up. Downfield pass is caught out of bounds, though, as Kamar Aiken tried to get that 2nd foot down.
You see Tyrann Mathieu come off the edge, and Buck Allen is 25 pounds bigger. But Mathieu hits Buck Allen with authority and almost gets to Flacco. And there's Aiken. And Justin Bethel clearly out of bounds.
That YouTube video of Mathieu is hysterical. The whole Honey Badger thing started. And every time he blitzes like that, I think of that video, just sneaking around. Boom, attack. Just added a couple of thousand hits as people go back to watch that again. The 49 pressure picked up and dropped. Pass dropped by Brown.
It's these kind of plays that quietly ruin the night for John Harbaugh and the Ravens. Catch the football, put it away, and then run. and you have a manageable 3rd and short. But now on 3rd down and long, on the road, in this noise, you're in trouble. Here's where the depth of this defensive line needs to show up for Arizona. They should be fresh. And there's 7 defensive backs out there.
Play clock running down, play off. Here comes the pressure. Flacco fires. Back shoulder for Smith. Coverage Peterson. He wanted a flag the other way. It is 4th down. And the Ravens, after 2 first downs, will kick it away.
Patrick Peterson wins that one. He's 16 pounds lighter than he was last year, Mike. We saw that when he walked in our meeting yesterday. He looks a lot better physically. He's more confident, and he has prepared himself behind the scenes, I think, a lot better this year.
Low snap, well scooped by Cook. Kicks the tumbler down. Peterson caught at the 5. Trying to run away from Juszczyk. Got a block, but gets to the sideline. It's well covered by the Ravens. And Arizona will take over at the 13 and start 150 for Carson Palmer. Trying to get the Arizona Cardinals to 5-2. John mentioned it before. Bruce Arians, twice the coach of the year in the NFL, 63 years old. He's had a great opportunity to mentor Peyton Manning when he came in the league as a quarterback coach. The great relationship they had, Ben Roethlisberger and Bruce Arians. Then getting Andrew Luck at the start of his career in Indianapolis. Now he gets here, and they acquired Carson Palmer. It was really interesting talking to both of them, especially Palmer, about the relationship. And Carson was very detailed about how detailed Bruce Arians is. He's always on you. None of the small things get by him, whether it's your eyes in a walkthrough, where your feet were, where those other receivers are. Bruce likes to keep everybody on edge, and it starts with the quarterbacks, and he's mentored some good ones along the way.
Yeah, he's had some good ones, and I love the fact that he's calling the plays. It's a big reason why they've had some continuity here.
Drive starts at the 13. It's Chris Johnson to the right. Gresham back in. Tried to block for him. He gets a couple of yards.
Bruce Arians, when you call the plays, it's a great responsibility, certainly, but when you flip it to Joe Flacco, he's had a different offensive coordinator for 4 years, and the 3 guys that have left have become head coaches. And that's what happens. You have to start from scratch to a degree, and it is a hard thing to do.
So he's starting the relationship with Trespin on the other side. Palmer and Arians have been doing this now for 3 seasons. And there's a comfort, certainly, with the knowledge of the system, but there's the edge that is always kept on that quarterback. And Carson says he likes it. He thrives on that hard coaching he gets from Arians. Johnson to the right. And Canty again having a big game.
I'm surprised that Arizona continues to test the strength of the Ravens defense. They had success with that play in the first half, the power play. That time Chris Canty was waiting for it. And on 3rd down and 7, do the Ravens have enough pass rush? They have been depleted so bad with the departures of McPhee, the loss of Suggs. Do these young Ravens have what it takes to make some critical 4th quarter and late game stops?
Dumerville misses his Robin on the other side. They're the 1-2 combo, he and Suggs off of each edge. Just not the same thus far this year, but he might get there here. Not in time, and Gresham makes him pay. At the 29-yard line, 1st down, Jermaine Gresham in front of the linebacker, Darryl Smith.
Well, Darryl Smith in one-on-one coverage with Gresham on an outside breaking route, but watch Dumerville come off the right side and hit Carson Palmer. Dumerville looks healthy. He came out of the Cleveland game with an injury, has struggled physically, but he looks like an old self right now.
Sure does. Slowed by that groin injury. From the 30, Chris Johnson comes to the left. Jermaine Gresham blocking again. Johnson may not have been down. He was not. Stays alive. And Johnson takes it inside the 10 to the 8-yard line.
Boy, when it rains, it pours if you're Baltimore.
And Arizona's trying to jump the ball and go quick. John Harbaugh wants to take out a flag and challenge.
Yeah, no choice but to throw it.
And he body part down. He is lying on Williams there. Rolls over Williams. Gets back up. Harbaugh was saying he was stopped on the play. No challenge. It continues on. Johnson gains 62 on that carry. And here he gains about 1.5 yards. And you can see the Cardinals offense is exhausted as they had to run all the way down the field.
Well, Brandon Williams, the big nose tackle, makes a great lateral pursuit play, but he brings down Chris Johnson on top of himself. And Johnson has the presence to get up and go.
And you saw Harbaugh, he was saying he stopped. And sometimes in those situations when everybody stops, they'll just cut the play there. It was very close. He rolled over and kept going. In real time, it looked different. No whistle was blown, and Johnson turns it into a big play. Palmer, pressure, out of the back. Nice catch. It won't count on Fitzgerald's stats, but 11 caught it in red.
Looking for Jermaine Gresham, the big tight end. You got to credit Brendan Trawick, the young safety, who struggled in the first half. That time he does a nice job in coverage, setting up a big third down. And a lot of wide receivers have checked in. Don't be surprised if Palmer doesn't use that no-back set again. And be alert for some hand signals to put these Raven receivers in the best position possible.
So they broke the huddle, and there's a 4 official conversation going on. He was in the pocket and clearly threw it out of the back of the end zone. It's rare that you see that ever called as intentional grounding. I don't know if that's what they're discussing here.
There is no foul for intentional grounding. It's an incomplete pass, second down. Please reset the play clock to 25 seconds, please.
Well,
Shouldn't it be third down? It should be third down, right? Because there was the running play after the Chris Johnson run. Then it's second down, the incomplete pass. It's third down. The down marker says third down. It was just the incorrect announcement.
54,
Well, they blitzed this no-back set the last 2 times, and here they come again.
Third and goal, Palmer. Slant again. That's caught and ruled down by contact on the grab by Brown.
Another blitz by Dean Peace against this no-back set. Let's see if Brown is down. He's inside the 1.
He's pointing forward, gets inside the 1. It would still be 4th and goal. Is there contact from Trawick underneath there? Or Sharice Wright, I should say, at any point. It's hard to tell there. As he crawls forward, the ball never crossed the plane. Then he's contacted by a defender. So it would be 4th and goal anywhere. Catanzaro kicks the field goal, and it's 20-10. It's a second straight 21-yard field goal. You too can play official on TV. What a long run. Heads up by Chris Johnson. And off we go with opening night of the NBA season. NBA Countdown with Sage Steele and Doug Collins and Jalen Rose starts at 7 Eastern. Then the Spurs and the Thunder. Huge city for Oklahoma. Season for Oklahoma City, I should say. And then the Lakers will get Kobe Bryant back in all likelihood. It's a battle of the first and the second overall pick in the draft, where the Timberwolves meet the Lakers. And, of course, Minnesota and Kevin Garnett and their players will be playing with a heavy heart with the passing of Flip Saunders at age 60. Cancer. Found out that news. It's gutting news yesterday. Wonderful person to cover and good friend to many of us. Our thoughts with the Saunders family. Tonight, Baltimore will take over at the 20 when we come back. The big guy's always in charge. Jerry Austin, twice Super Bowl referee. Let's go back to that run by Chris Johnson. We'll watch it real speed. Tell us what you see from an official's eyes.
Okay, the official on the bottom, you see he starts to come in, but he rolls over. Just for a split second, it looked like he stopped, but he's still making an effort to go forward. Therefore, you can't say forward progress is truly stopped, and they officiated it like it should be. See him rolling over. He's still moving, trying to get forward, and he goes.
Shouldn't he have raised his arm, though, Jerry? He looked like he gave up on the play.
I don't think so.
All right, there you go. Sounds like you guys have had that conversation before. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Jerry. From the 24 set, runs to the right. He'll gain 3 yards on that play to the 23-yard line.
You know, when you're on the backside of these zone stretch running plays, the offensive line tries to cut you. They try to chop your legs. And Calais Campbell refuses to go down ever. He has been a force on the backside all night long. Campbell is the kind of player that can line head up on you. He can beat you 3 ways: inside, outside, or he'll run right over you.
Steve Smith has seen Peterson come with him all night. He continues over to the left from the 23. Here's Flacco on the cross. It's Smith, and he will get right to the first down line at the 30-yard line. Check that mark. Make sure he's got it. He does. First down.
Steve Smith, another shallow cross. Coming in motion. They're trying to get Peterson off of him by using this motion. They have linebackers trying to bang him as he comes from underneath. And just a great competitor, Steve Smith, done it for 15 years.
Just past the 30, it's back to Smith. They're trying to get him across. He and Tyrann Mathieu, little strong man battle there to the 34 gain of about 4.
If they had a 5'10" and under league, you're looking at 2 of the very best. Steve Smith in motion, going to run into the flat, and there's the Honey Badger waiting on him. He almost gets this ball out of there.
Steve Smith tonight, 78 yards, moves him up to 11. Closing in on Chris Carter in the top 10 all-time in NFL history in receiving yards. He's passed Ellard and gone past Andre Johnson as they have a back and forth as both remain active. He gets a break. Flacco throw inside to Crockett Gilmore. He'll come up a yard shy of the first down as the quarter comes to end. John, that play by Chris Johnson, you and I were here calling the BCS championship game on radio, and Michael Dyer of Auburn did the same thing. It set up the game-winning field goal when Auburn won the title.
Did it to Oregon, and
that's right.
Very similar play.
6 points put up by the Cardinals. They're up 10 after 3.
ESPN, celebrating the legacy of Monday Night Football.
20-10, Arizona on top as we start the 4th quarter. Lone touchdown pass of the game came from Carson Palmer, former #1 overall pick, the Heisman winner, the Super Bowl MVP Flacco, 20 of 27. Trying to pick up 3rd and 1 here, and won't do it. As Forsett is stopped. Calais Campbell again.
And John Harbaugh may go for this. Calais Campbell, you see again on the middle of the screen. Inside move. What a disruptive force he is. Heads up for a fake here. There have been 2 fakes this year. One, a fake field goal by Baltimore. They did fake a punt against Cincinnati, 4th and 2. Let's see.
Football knocked this one very high with hang time, making it tough to catch one for Peterson right outside the 20-yard line. Again, all net on that 42-yard punt. John, you talked about the versatility of Campbell. We see it again tonight.
Oh, he's everywhere. He's in his 8th season. Here he is playing on the center at the nose position. He's playing right defensive end. Then you keep watching this. There he is lined up at left defensive tackle over the right guard. Where is Calais Campbell? He's back at the 3 technique on the left guard. He's hard to block on the backside of these plays. Made his first Pro Bowl last year. He is on the top of his game mentally and physically. That's what's called your prime, Mike, and he is doing it in prime time tonight.
5 tackles, 3 of them for loss. The injured Raven is Trey Walker. We have an injury timeout. ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. And Toyota. Let's go places. The acclaimed guitarist Esteban. Esteban and company playing last night at Soundbites Grill in Sedona, Arizona. I guess our crew was attracted to Soundbites Grill. But Esteban is locally renowned. Tremendous artist. Trey Walker, the 4th-round pick out of Texas Southern, was the injured player. He was escorted by 2 of the athletic training staff right to the locker room. Get an update, we'll give it to you. Andre Ellington is the running back for Arizona, and he gains 3 yards. Courtney Upshaw.
Fitzgerald, he just stands over there waiting for Carson Palmer to bring him in motion to block the support. If there's a 7th man in the box, they signal for Fitzgerald to change his split. He's got to come in here and block this safety. He's trying like crazy to find that strong safety. That's what Hines Ward did for Bruce Arians in Pittsburgh to make this one-back running game go, and Fitzgerald is doing that in Arizona for Bruce Arians.
Changed to his repertoire with 954 catches. Not often a guy with that many catches starts doing that. Here is Ellington underneath the first down at the 32-yard line for Andre.
Baltimore continuing to blitz, and Palmer continuing to unload it before the blitz can get there. Arizona knows Dean Pease is blitzing these open formations, and Palmer had the answer that time.
Here's Dean, defensive coordinator. He's with New England 06 to 09. Ellington with a gain of a couple. John, we talked to Dean Pease at our meeting yesterday, and you feel for him. You alluded to it earlier. With all the changes in the secondary, you've got all this knowledge and this desire to do things. You're just limited because you have no continuity in your secondary.
Well, if you simplify things so much, it's to the disservice of your team. And if you put too much in, it's to the disservice of your team. So what do you do with all the new corners, new safeties, new players they have up front? It's hard to be competitive and great like they've been in the past.
Without starting safety Kendrick Lewis tonight, this is 2nd and 7. Ellington with a good run to the 41-yard line. Here they're trying to line up and show they can run the ball and protect this 10-point lead.
And why not run a power play with Mike Iupati? We've seen him do that in San Francisco for a long time. And in this short yardage situation, look at the big men that have just checked in for Baltimore. There's Williams, 98. 93 is Guy. They've got to load it up and stop the run. And once again, you must be careful of the play action pass. That's where Baltimore has been hurt in these short yardage situations.
David Johnson now the back on 3rd and 1. He runs to that left side, keeps those legs moving, and his forward progress should get him the first down past the 42-yard line.
Well, David Johnson, the biggest back that Arizona has, the former Northern Iowa collegiate, drives his feet. Great effort to get the first down. Nice surge up front. Big first down. A lot of different backs, but a lot of balance in this Carolina offense. I bet you can't name the leading rusher over the last few years for Arizona, Mike.
Can you?
No.
Oh, you can't. First and 10 for the 42. The pressure on Palmer. Dumerville hit his arm as he went to throw. The pass was incomplete.
Dumerville is a problem. Has been and continues to be. I don't know if there's a breakdown in an assignment there, but if there's one Baltimore Raven you have to be very careful of, it's Elvis Dumerville. 17 sacks last year, broke a Raven record. He's healthy, and with the game on the line, you got to be careful with him if you're Arizona.
Baltimore in desperate need of a big play, desperate need of a turnover. Fitzgerald got 2 blocks. Larry Fitzgerald to the Ravens side of the 50. At the Baltimore 42. Gain of 16.
You can do a lot of things with athletic offensive linemen. Valdir at left tackle, number 68, with the kick out on McClellan, and Larry Fitzgerald. North-south physical runner after the catch. Baltimore's on the ropes.
Leading rusher last year, Ellington, play action to him. Palmer wanted the deep shot. He'll take Ellington, checks down out of the backfield. And a yard shy of the first down. And John, you talked about adding Chris Johnson. Ellington led them in rushing last year. For what you were referring to, Rashard Mendenhall the year before that, LaRod Stevens-Howling the year before that, Beanie Wells, Tim Hightower. It's been a different leading rusher for this team year after year after year.
I told you. You see Carson Palmer moving in the pocket. I mean, this is a 35-year-old quarterback coming off major knee surgery. That's what's most impressive to me, how well he moves in the pocket.
Solid run, chain mover, first down, as Ellington has done a very nice job on this drive. You mentioned it happened in the playoff game for Cincinnati early in that first quarter. Kimo von Oelhoffen got Carson, and then it happened last year against St. Louis. So here's Carson Palmer, all these years removed from 06 to 14. 8.5 years between ACL injuries, and the technology changes, the rehab changes, and the patient changed as well because he's a little bit older. So he attacked it. He talked to many people, did a lot of research, figuring out the best way at his age to come back from this. Michael Floyd on the edge, one-on-one, beat him, Floyd. He'll be marked out of bounds inside the 10. It'll be first and goal at the 5.
They want to run this double team scheme behind Mike Iupati. They've been running it right down Baltimore's throat. They love to run the play to the left. But if there's 8 in the box, Palmer just picks the ball up and throws it out there to his wide receiver. And these receivers are really big and fast and hard to tackle. Carson Palmer, incredible story coming back from this knee, but he has complete control of this offense in year 3 under Bruce Arians.
They give him 23 on that one. It's a drive. They pick up 5 first downs, looking for the touchdown. Palmer! Brown in for the touchdown. John Brown.
Smoky John Brown, they call him in Arizona. Blinding vertical speed, and he has short area quickness, and that's a real difficult combination to cover. Just a quick out by Brown, and Carson Palmer on the move. Throws a pinpoint pass for 6. You just get the feeling with Larry Fitzgerald, first-round pick, Michael Floyd, first-round pick. Who's the best receiver? Who's your favorite target? Everybody says Smokey Brown. They love Smokey Brown here.
They love him.
I'd like to be Carson Palmer. He's got some real arsenal to throw to with a running game.
Saw Brown right from pylon cam has the ball on the correct side. That extra point is no good. So the extra points, 26 missed to this point this season after 8 missed last year. And that keeps it a 16-point game, so it keeps it a 2-possession game. The Ravens have a lot of work to do to get back after Palmer's touchdown pass, second of the night. And Tom Moore's been around a long time, been with a lot of quarterbacks, loves what Carson Palmer can give this Arizona offense. And we talked about that movement on that surgically repaired knee ×2.
Well, watch him, Mike. He's looking down the field. He has to reset and move to find these outlet receivers. Here he is, sprinting to his right. You don't normally call these kinds of plays with a man that's coming off a serious knee injury. Heck, he went to Detroit, Mike, earlier in the season and forgot to pack his knee brace. Can you imagine your starting quarterback?
Ross needs a big return, brings it out to the 25-yard line.
That's the job I want. I want to be the Arizona Cardinal knee-packing coach.
Well, they've got enough coaches around here. The Bidwells have given Steve Keim, the general manager, and Bruce Arians great latitude to bring in a lot of specialists, a lot of coaches, and a ton of experience, too. We showed you Tom Moore earlier. They have a wide variety of coaches, young and old. It's been a great part of this great connection. Michael Bidwell, the team president on the left, Steve Keim sitting next to him. Steve, one of the very good executives in this league. He and Bruce Arians hired within a week and a half of each other, and they have worked very well together. Flacco pass incomplete, intended for Kamar Aiken.
That's a credit to this ownership and a credit to Bruce Arians. You have Tom Moore and Tom Pratt. Look at the experience they have. Tom Pratt was in Super Bowl I. He's 79 years old. They train the young coaches. And here's Dwight Freeney, Chris Johnson. It's these veteran players that train the young players. So the experienced coaches train the young coaches. They want the experienced blue chip veterans to train the young players. And it's a credit to Steve Keim, the ownership here in Arizona, and Bruce Arians for allowing this to happen.
Second and 10, Flacco under pressure underneath. Crockett Gilmore, the tight end, tackled by Jefferson, gain of 8. And Michael Bidwell, the president, took over in 2007. Of course, William Bidwell, his dad, so much a part of it for so long. Team has been in the Bidwell family since the Hall of Famer Charles W. Bidwell purchased the team. And it's helped put a great head coach in place of Bruce Arians, and it has fit. Double-digit wins the last 2 years. Closing in on 5-2. Tyrann Mathieu off the edge. Gets his man.
You're a young football player. Get some Arizona defensive film and watch this kid play. He's unaccounted for. He's going to make the sack and the tackle, but Joe Flacco never saw him. And I love what Arizona did. Last week, statistically, they were doing a great job against Pittsburgh, but they didn't finish the game. They were unable to play a 60-minute contest. So far, so good.
Sam Cook to kick it away again.
Oh, boy.
This is kicked towards the sideline. Peterson couldn't catch it. It's 50 and out of bounds. They look ugly. These are on purpose. They're trying to kick every kind of odd-looking ball and make it hard for Peterson. Can't make it hard for that. I'll say it again, the Honey Badger. Tyrann Mathieu, imprint on the game again tonight. Arizona lost in the playoffs last year in Charlotte to the Panthers, and we'll be there next Monday night to watch Cam Newton and company try to go to 7-0 and see what's going on with the Colts and Andrew Luck. 3-4, a lot going on with that team. Tough schedule ahead. They desperately need one. We will see you from Uptown Charlotte next Monday night. Countdown, 6 Eastern time. We're kicking at 8:15 Eastern. Up 16. It's been Ellington for a good part of this fourth quarter. He runs left 4-3.
Well, he's in the AAA club tonight. He's had excellent accuracy. Ball is thrown perfectly. Incredible anticipation. Hard to coach this. This takes years of work.
Wow, that's great.
And when you get into a tough situation, have a quarterback that can change the play with an audible. He sees this the whole way. He keeps Arizona in the perfect play. He's throwing the ball with accuracy, great anticipation. He's audible when he's asked to, and he's been very, very good again tonight.
Pressured here, and he'll go down. It's Zachary Orr, the undrafted second-year man out of North Texas, as the Ravens bring on the heat to try to come up with a big play in the final 6 minutes of this one.
And as I compliment players, usually something bad happens at times. I give a great package of audibles and anticipation and accuracy, and he gets blindsided by a blitz. Not good timing.
It's okay. It's not your fault, really. It'll be all right.
Kiss of death.
Ravens really have to make a stop here. David Johnson, the running back on 3rd and 15. He comes out of the backfield. He's being spied, but got away from Smith. Won't get the first down. It'll be 4 yards shy. Kept inbounds. That was Darryl Smith's purpose. He was waiting and waiting. Johnson ran away, but the secondary saved him.
Well, you see what the young Johnson has in his legs. He has outstanding speed and great hands. And Chris Johnson, David Johnson, Andre Ellington, a three-headed monster in this Arizona backfield. Be very careful with Ross. As you said earlier, he's had a history in this league returning balls.
Butler has a kick every game that he'd like to have back. Movement, drops it back 5 yards.
False start. Offense. Number 55. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Just the second accepted penalty against the Cardinals on the night.
This is the one area that Arizona has not been good this year. Their punter has struggled. Butler has statistically been at the bottom of the league. They need him to pick up his play and help Arizona in terms of field position.
Near the bottom of net punting. Big rush by the Ravens, and and is blocked with a flag down. It is scooped up and brought to the 1-yard line. Let's check the flag, though. It was scooped by Raheem Mostert. The block came from Asa Jackson, who was flagged earlier. Well, let's see what the penalty was.
Holding.
Wow.
Offense. Number 82. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is Baltimore's ball. First and goal.
The missed extra point made it a 2-possession game still, and here's the block.
It's going to come off your left side. Actually, it comes right up the middle. It's 27 Jackson.
The personal protector had to make a choice. Johnson went left. The hold was on the long snapper, and that freed that gap for Jackson to come through and get it. Mostert recovered it. It's first and goal at the 1, or with a situation now. Baltimore score, and they'll go for 2. Flacco will try to throw for it. And it's Juszczyk into the end zone, and the fullback out of Harvard has the receiving touchdown.
Got to go for 2. 10-point game. Try to make it a 1-possession game. It's a reverse pivot. That's Spider 3-wide banana, Mike. Fullback in the flat. Joe Flacco has Baltimore back in this football game.
Second receiving touchdown of the year, third of the career for Juszczyk, the Ohio native who went to Harvard. For the 2 to make it a 1-possession game. Steve Smith to the left with Patrick Peterson. And movement by Crockett Gilmore.
That is a terrible mistake by Gilmore.
False start. Offense. Number 80. 5-yard penalty. Replay a try.
Nobody has younger tight ends in the NFL. Gilmore in his second year than 2 rookies.
Oh, he just jumps off sides. They're going to use a check with me on these 2-point plays. You got to keep your poise in the noise, and that moves the ball back to the 7-yard line. Backup corner at the bottom of the screen. Remember, Gerard Powers is out of this game.
That's Justin Bethel. From the 8 for the 2, the pressure is picked up. Flacco's slant is caught for the 2-point conversion. Nick Boyle
Against the Honey Badger. How about Nick Boyle? You said it. Blue Hens, right?
You got it.
Great throw by Flacco in a crowd. Boyle clutches it, secures it, makes this a 1-possession game.
(26-18). The Ravens are back in it now. From that last drive, we were getting ready when the Ravens got the ball back to update a couple of injuries. Kelechi Osemele hurt his knee, Eugene Monroe his shoulder on that prior drive for Baltimore. That's the left side of their offensive line. They're out, but then they took over at the 1, scored to the 2-point conversion, so there was a lot going on. We couldn't get you that info. You see Fitzgerald out there and Brown. That means hands team want to prepare against an onside kick. This is an outstanding special teams unit, coached by Jerry Rosberg, Randy Brown, the kicking consultant. They've got a lot of tricks. Of course, John Harbaugh, former special teams coach. This is one of the tricks. They're just trying to pop it into a voided area. Arizona was all over it. It's fair comp by Peterson back at the 14-yard line. Well, why we still have a game? It would have been a 3-score game if Catanzaro did not miss the extra point. And then the block punt. Recovered. They couldn't scoop and score, but Mostert recovered at the 1. Juszczyk catching the 2-point conversion, and then Flacco for the touchdown, and then the 2-point conversion with Flacco to Boyle gives us a 1-score game with 4:26 to go.
Well, Drew Butler's got to get that punt off, Mike. I don't care what the time is supposed to be, 2.0 or better. You're in a danger punt situation. You got to get that ball off quicker, knowing that the blitz has to be on.
2.0 is the time you want to get it off under. It was just over that, 2.03. Thus the block punt, and now Arizona has to go to the 4-minute offense. They go to Chris Johnson, and he is stopped by Darryl Smith. No game.
Darryl Smith, what a player he is. He had to succeed Ray Lewis, and he's done an unbelievable job as a leading tackler of this Raven defense. They're covering everybody up. They're keeping Smith clean to roam and make plays. Carson Palmer's going to have to throw the football if they want to move it, because running it against this Baltimore front in this situation will be tough.
Still the full bucket of timeouts for Baltimore. Palmer to throw. Dumerville was pressured. Gresham, the tight end. Great play call there. Gets the first down at the 26-yard line.
Boy, it's a screen pass with power action. They pull Mike Iupati from left to right. They're going to make this look like it's a running play. But Jermaine Gresham, instead of blocking the backside, he leaks out on a screen for a critical first down. Nice call by Bruce Arians. And you see Iupati and Chris Johnson doing everything they can to keep Elvis Dumerville out of it.
Inside of 3, we'll see if John Harbaugh uses his timeouts on this side of the 2-minute warning. Flag is down as Chris Johnson goes out of bounds. And if that's a hold on the edge, it would bring them back.
It's like Gresham, Mike.
Holding. Offense, number 84. 10 yards from the previous spot. Replay, first down.
Inside of 5 minutes, the fourth quarter. Of course, the clock does not restart until the snap. So it'll be 2:55 for this next snap.
You're at the point of attack. Oftentimes the tight end gets caught. I didn't see anything there. I just don't understand some of these flags that are thrown. It's got to be obvious to make that call in this situation. That wasn't.
So first and 20 from their own 16-yard line. Johnson, left timeout taken by Baltimore. You can always hear John Harbaugh right there in front of our sideline microphone, and it will be second down with 2:51 remaining here in regulation. John Harbaugh, this has been a season of close calls, and it's territory Baltimore is not used to. And John Harbaugh, Joe Flacco got started together. That's been his quarterback for every game of his NFL career. And they've won 6 out of their last 7 years, which is the tenure for these two, Flacco and Harbaugh together. They've been to the playoffs. Only once did they miss, 3 times to the AFC Championship game. And of course, some 32 months ago, John beat his brother Jim Harbaugh to win the Super Bowl, Baltimore over San Francisco. But now, John, at 1-5, the close games, the Raven way, found a way to win. They just haven't been able to, in large part, the massive turnover of personnel from those Super Bowl teams and those great defenses.
But they do compete, and they're in every game until the very end.
Second and 19. Palmer to throw. It is complete with Gresham, who will get to within 3 yards of the first down, and Baltimore will exhaust its second timeout with 2:44 remaining.
But the results have changed a little bit in Baltimore because his cast has changed so much. As you said, he's got a new receiving core. He's got a new front four. But he has resisted giving in to anything. And on this 3rd down and 3, I'll be anxious to see what Dean Peace, the defensive coordinator of Baltimore, does. He's got to load the box and prevent Arizona to run the football. And in so doing, he's going to create some one-on-one situations. I think Bruce Arians, with 2 halfbacks in the game, is going to go to his no-back set, Mike. He's got Ellington and David Johnson in the game. They might spread Baltimore out again and use a no-back set.
How much of this call at this time is tendencies from earlier in the season or what you've seen in the game tonight?
I think this is based on what you've seen tonight. But there's 2 halfbacks in the game. There's some deception going on.
3rd and 3. Almost a must stop for the Ravens. Palmer, pressure, leaking out. Ellington's going to get there. First down at the 42-yard line. You were all over those 2 halfbacks. And it's enough for Arizona to get it. The only bad part was he went out of bounds, which will give Baltimore a chance to get it with a little time left if Arizona doesn't get another first down.
Well, we call it a swap screen. So you see one back go this way, one back goes the other, and it confuses the coverage of the Ravens. One back goes to the right, the other back goes to the left. They pick off the coverage, and Andre Ellington All these backs can catch the ball. What a great catch at crunch time by Andre Ellington. And the only reason Chris Johnson is in town because Ellington and David Johnson were hurt in training camp. Now they're all working together.
Baltimore will have a chance to get the ball back with about a minute left if they don't allow Arizona to get a first down. Here's the stop there on the first down run with Williams. Baltimore uses its final timeout here. 2:32 to go. So Baltimore exhausting the timeouts. Second down play, as long as they run it, will take it to the 2-minute warning. And the third down play would take it inside a minute 15. So about a minute 8 or 7 if they can stop them, depending on Arizona's play calls. There are all those close calls, John.
Well,
6 at Denver.
Yeah, look, Mike, look at where they've been, though. At Denver, at Oakland. I mean, they're at San Francisco. They're at Arizona tonight. They've got to fly all the way back to Baltimore on a short week, play a home game. 5 of their first 7 games on the road, 4 West Coast trips. I'd have jet lag if I was a Raven.
They did stay out west between that first and second game. Did not do it this time around. Arizona stayed east as they played back-to-back home games before this one. 2nd and 10. It will be a throw. Palmer's better be completed. Oh, this is a clock saver. That should be grounding, too. Is he in the pocket? If he's in the pocket, it should be grounding. There's the flag. Arians says he's out of the pocket. Well, look. But Torbert, the referee, says no. Now they're pointing to say there's an eligible receiver nearby.
It's like he's expecting Gresham to get out in the flat, but
well, he's in the pocket, and there's no receiver within 14 yards there.
Why throw the ball in that situation to stop the clock?
Let's see here. They can say Gresham's there or no.
All right. Intentional grounding. Offense, number 3. Quarterback was in the pocket under duress. Threw the ball where there was not an eligible receiver in the vicinity. That's loss of down. The spot on the foul, 3rd down.
And what you said is so true, John. There's so much passing and short passing. People have gotten away from maximize the time that you run off the clock. And when I gave those numbers before, that's just based on if you play it out the right way. There's a minute 5 left when Baltimore gets the ball and no timeouts. Here, if they stop them, they're going to get the ball back on the other side of the 2-minute warning.
I'd be talking to Drew Butler because they're going to try to block that punt again. They know he struggles to get it off.
So the grounding makes it 3rd and 22. They need to get to the Baltimore 46 to keep it going. And they will run it with David Johnson, who's going to be stopped at the 38-yard line. Will spin down to the 2-minute warning. And Arizona will have to punt it away.
And they're going to come with the block, I believe, again. They got it right up the middle. Jackson, the last time. And Butler has to catch it and get rid of it, Mike. Almost like you're backed up inside your own 1-yard line. He's got to get rid of this football in a hurry.
Time to think about it at the 2-minute warning. Baltimore hanging on, still alive.
2-minute warning here in Arizona, still a 1-possession game. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Levy. Make sure you stay tuned after the game. Sports Center at night with Scott Van Pelt. I'll be joined by Steve Young and Trent Dilfer and Ray Lewis. Will break it all down. SVP will chat with Ohio State head football coach Urban Meyer and Louis Riddick with more on just the latest Greg Hardy blow-up. That's all coming up. Sports Center at night. Immediately following the game, Mike and John take us home.
Okay, Steve, 2 gifts put pressure on Drew Butler in this punt. Ellington running out of bounds, although he did pick up the first down. And then the incomplete pass compounded by the intentional grounding. Last punt of Butler's was blocked. The 4th blocked punt of his career. Will Baltimore set up a return or come after it?
They're coming after it.
The personal protector, Rashad Johnson, calls the Gunners in. It gives Baltimore a return chance if it gets off. Butler gets rid of it, is high. And caught at the 24-yard line. A fair catch is made by Jeremy Ross. So here is Baltimore in a situation, John, they've seen so often this year. Their ball, 1:53 left. A chance to go down the field, in this case, tie the game. And essentially, they've been unsuccessful everything but the Pittsburgh game this year.
Backup offensive lineman in the game, Mike. At left tackle, number 74, James Hurst. Urschel at left guard, number 64. Can the 4th quarter pass rush led by Dwight Freeney capitalize?
That's the side they should take advantage of. Here we go, Flacco. In trouble. Steps up. Pursued. Gets away from Freeney. Lobs it to the sideline. Incomplete. As Steve Smith, Tyrann Mathieu, and a whole bunch of folks converging on that Baltimore sideline.
That's why Freeney was brought to the desert. Take a look at him on the left side. They keep Gilmore at tight end into block, and Flacco under serious fire. Barely avoids the sack. Arizona lost the Super Bowl to Pittsburgh because they lacked a fourth quarter pass rush. Let's see if they found one.
Second and 10. Crosser, it's caught. Brown, yard shy of the first down is Marlon Brown at the 33.
Gotta hurry.
And watch the Arizona offensive lineman, your old quarterback Rich Gannon, broadcast the game last week. You notice in this situation, Baltimore's linemen were not with urgency up to the ball in these spots with a turning clock and no timeouts. 3rd and 1, Flacco, compressed pocket, pass is incomplete. Peterson on the coverage, Brown the intended receiver, and we're down to 4th and 1.
Freeney's disappointed in himself. Look what he's doing over here, right defensive end. He is breathing fire on Joe Flacco. They've got to get a chip or a nudge or some kind of help for their backup left tackle, James Hurst. 4th down and 1. Expect a sprint out to the right. Got to keep this drive alive. But the ball has to come out quick. Here comes Arizona with all they have.
Neighboring 5. Freeney chasing. Flacco trying to keep the game alive. Throws it across and it's caught. Gilmore to the 42. And it goes on with 1:07 remaining in regulation.
Joe Flacco, he's been here every single game all season long. He's had Baltimore on the brink. 21 times he's brought him back. Can he do it again?
Steve Smith in the slot. To Smith, incomplete. He didn't look that way. Tyrann Mathieu was in that area of the zone coverage. 2nd and 10 with 48 remaining.
And here comes some fresh pass rushers. 91, Stinson in the game. 96, Kareem Martin.
Smith coming off the field here, along with Marlon Brown, as they ran those 5 consecutive plays. So backup linemen, backup receivers in there for Flacco, as Chris Givens and Kamar Aiken are in there.
Who are these 3 receivers? Unbelievable.
Here comes the blitz. Mathieu off the corner. Flacco putting it up deep for Givens, who's got it out of bounds. Game very much alive with 41 seconds left at the Arizona 27-yard line.
Chris Givens just got here in a trade, working one-on-one against a backup corner. Bethel blew the coverage. Bethel clearly expecting help over the top, didn't get it. But Joe Flacco with receivers that just got here and learned this offense. Top of the screen now, 13, Givens working against Bethel again.
Smith back in as well. 40 seconds remain. Flacco firing towards Smith in double coverage, and he just gets rid of it. Out of bounds and incomplete. It'll be 2nd down.
Here comes the fresh Dwight Freeney. I wonder what kind of shape Freeney's in.
Freeney was going to retire if he was unsigned after week 2. It went till week 5. He was working on his golf game, brought his handicap down a few strokes. It's a far different story now.
This is where you find out what you're made of on defense, Mike. A lot of things have gone wrong. A lot of things are going against you. Put your foot down, find a way to get a stop. Going to be hard to do against the world champion Flacco.
He'll empty the backfield now. Arizona adjusts. Freeney a free rush. Thrown up in the middle of the field to Gilmore. What a catch! At the 4, they have no timeouts. They'll try to clock it.
They come with an all-out blitz. Joe Flacco read it perfectly. And Crockett Gilmore redeems himself.
Clocked at 18, so they should have 3 or 4 chances to go to the end zone.
Size. Always been a huge factor down the field, and Crockett Gilmore goes up and gets it against the undersized Jefferson.
Third-round pick from Colorado State last year. Even this week he said, I should still be a defensive end like he was in his early days in Fort Collins. Wants to be a pass rusher.
I expect Flacco to use the field here and sprint out to his right. Boyle, the rookie tight end, is split out at the top of the screen.
Play clock, watch the play clock. They're having trouble getting lined up. They're all over the map. Flags are down. Flacco's throw to Smith is complete. Steve is down, but there are flags down. Now the clock was stopped. So there's no runoff. It's probably an illegal formation, but they're going to need to talk about it here. The conversation going on with the three officials. Was someone off the line of scrimmage there or not? Once they determine this, John, Smith was stopped inbounds. So they're going to need to be ready to run a play if, in fact, there was no flag.
Illegal shell.
There was.
By the offense. All 11 players did not get set before the snap. That's a 5-yard penalty. Replay second down.
Again, play with a dead clock, so there's no 10-second runoff. Yeah, it should have been a false start, not an illegal shift, because Smith got set. Again, they're running personnel in and out. Bruce Arians wants a penalty on Baltimore for illegal substitution because he's trying to change his guys now.
And 12 in a huddle. Bruce Arians can't believe it. Now he's got to take a timeout to get his army straight.
Timeout, Arizona. This has not been pretty in terms of execution here in the fourth quarter, all the way around.
And this is a huge advantage right now for Baltimore, Mike, because they get time to go to the sideline and get the play that they want. Mark Trestman has a good opportunity to look over his sideline sheet, talk to his coaches. You get Steve Smith a little bit of rest, and you give your quarterback the best play possible. He's got plenty of time for 2 plays. But Joe Flacco, the veteran quarterback, now gets time to relay a lot of information to some key people, and some of these players are brand new here.
And again, John, let's point out what you said at the beginning of this drive. No Eugene Monroe left tackle, no Coleccio Assembly left guard. Both went out a couple of drives ago. Backup offensive lineman on the left side. Second and goal.
All out blitz.
Flacco back, pressure on to the middle again for Gilmore, and it is secured and intercepted by Tony Jefferson.
You talk about Arizona's history of blitzing under Todd Bowles. You have to credit James Betcher, the new defensive coordinator of Arizona. With the game on the line, he brings the house. Unblocked player coming off the right side of the screen. Flacco has no choice but to elevate this ball to his big tight end. And Jefferson with another interception for this Cardinal defense, and they are really good at taking the ball away.
He does a great job of almost coming to a short stop here once he secures the ball to end the game, essentially, and get Carson Palmer in start 150, win number 75. And it ends, John, much like the game in Denver did for Baltimore. They got down there close, and they throw an interception. Flacco had no choice. He couldn't take a sack there with the clock running down and no timeouts. Sports Center coming up. GMC postgame report. A lot to discuss in this one. Arizona remains in first. They are 5-2. The Ravens join the Lions, the worst record in the NFL after 7 weeks at 1-6. Cardinals 26, Ravens 18. GMC postgame coming up. Back to Glendale with the Gruden Grinder. Scott Van Pelt standing by for SportsCenter. It all comes up in a moment.